Good day everyone, welcome to Module 2 of our Human Resources Management course. Last time we explored the role of HR and its key functions. Today we're going to build on that foundation by examining how HR strategy and planning connects to broader organizational goals. We'll explore how management theory, strategic analysis, competitive strategy, and execution all impact HR management strategy and planning. By the end of this session, you'll be able to understand the theoretical foundations that shape HR practices and how HR contributes to strategic decision making. So, here are our module outcomes for today. We'll discuss the foundations of HR management, exploring the management theories that have shaped our understanding of work and organizations. Secondly, we'll discuss the strategic management process, including how organizations analyze their environment, formulate strategy, and implement their plans. Then thirdly, we'll discuss HR strategic planning, understanding how HR aligns with and supports organizational strategy. So these three areas connect to form the complete picture of how HR contributes to organizational success. So let's tackle the foundations of human resource management. To understand where HR is today, we need to understand where it came from. Management theory has evolved significantly over time, and each era has contributed something valuable to how we think about managing people. We'll explore four major theoretical perspectives: the classical scientific management theories, administrative management theory, behavioral management theories, modern management theories. Each of these approaches offers insights that still influence HR practices today. So let's start off with scientific management. Scientific management was pioneered in the early 20th century by Dr. Frederick Taylor, who is considered to be the father of scientific management. Taylor argued that systematic management was the remedy to inefficiency. He believed that work could be studied scientifically to determine the most efficient way to perform tasks. Taylor's 4 principles of scientific management are as follows. Apply the scientific method to analyze work and determine task efficiency. So this in simple means studying each job to find the optimal way to do it. Secondly, match workers to jobs based on capability and motivation, then train them for efficiency. Taylor believed workers should be selected based on their abilities and trained to perform tasks the best way. Then thirdly, provide instruction and supervision to ensure the best methods are used for tasks. This means ongoing oversight and guidance. And then lastly, divide work between managers and workers. Managers handle planning and training while workers focus on production. Then we have Dr. Lillian and Frank Gilbreths, who also contributed to scientific management. They focused on task efficiency and used film to identify opportunities to improve work processes. Frank categorized human work into individual motions called therbligs, which is Gilbreths, the surname, spelled backwards, with the th transposed, which could then be analyzed and optimized. Lillian is credited with numerous inventions related to home economics and domestic management, showing how scientific management principles could apply beyond the factory floor. So now we're going to move on to administrative management theories. While scientific management focused on efficiency and the task level, administrative management focused on the organization as a whole. Henry Fayol developed administrative management theories, proposing 14 principles of management. These principles included concepts like unity of command, division of work, and the scalar chain. These are ideas that still influence organizational structure today. Fayol also identified the key duties of management, which has since then been modified and refined into what we now recognize as planning, organizing, staffing, leading, controlling, and motivating. These form the basis of what managers and HR professionals do every day. Planning sets direction, organizing structures resources, staffing brings in talent, leading guides people, controlling monitors progress, and motivating drives performance. So now let's move on to behavior management theories. This is sometimes called the human relations movement because of its focus on the human dimension of work. Mary Follett made significant contributions to this field, including her proposition that conflict could actually be a stimulus for innovation, and not something to be avoided, but something to be harnessed productively. Follett coined the terms power over and power with to distinguish between coercive authority and collaborative influence. Her theory suggested that principles of genuine power are coactive and not coercive, and that true leaders create group power rather than personal power. Alton Mayo conducted the famous Hawthorne studies. Being a student in business management, I'm pretty sure you've come across this concept before. This marked a radical change of motivational theory and management practice. The Hawthorne effect demonstrated that employee performance is influenced by the work environment and co-workers, as well as innate ability. The studies observed workers in a social context and found that simply paying attention to workers, regardless of specific changes made, greatly improved productivity. This highlighted the importance of social factors in the workplace. So, continuing with behavior management theories, Abraham Maslow proposed that people are motivated by 5 categories of needs. It is arranged in a hierarchy. Physiological needs, which govern basic survival, safety needs being security and stability, social needs highlighting belonging and love, esteem needs being recognition and respect, and finally my favorite, self-actualization, which involves reaching one's full potential. Maslow classified the bottom 4 levels as deficiency needs. These create anxiety when not left. The 5th level is a growth need because it enables self-actualization. The key insight for HR is that human behavior is purposeful and motivated by the desire to satisfy needs, when unmet needs being the primary motivators. So in short, this means that to motivate employees effectively, we need to understand what needs they are trying to satisfy and provide opportunities for them to do so. This theory has profound implications for compensation, benefits recognition, and career development, which are all core HR functions. So now let's move on to modern management theories. Current management thinking incorporates ideas from administrative, behavioral, and scientific management, factoring operating realities and available technology. Learning organizations. This was developed by Donald Schwann and advanced by Dr. Peter Senge. This theory focuses on organizations being systems capable of bringing about their own continuing transformation. Senge proposed that organizations need to discover how to tap into people's commitment and capacity to learn at all levels. In a learning organization, every employee is encouraged to develop new skills, share knowledge, and contribute to continuous improvement. This is increasingly relevant today, as today's business environment is rapidly growing and changing. Then we move on to quantitative management. This approach focuses on data-driven decision-making using mathematical techniques and technologies such as data analysis, information modeling, and computer modeling to improve decision-making. It is notably important to note that quantitative techniques are generally developed and used to inform management rather than as a school of management itself. They are tools and not a complete philosophy. Today's HR professionals must be comfortable with data and analytics while also understanding human behavior. This combination of quantitative and qualitative skills is essential for modern HR leadership. So now, let's revise everything we did and check our understanding with this practice question. Margie is working with others in the HR department to implement a learning organization focus. What is one thing that she might include? Take a few seconds to read the potential answers and lock in your answer, and after that I will reveal the correct answer. So the correct answer is D, methods that will tap into people's capabilities to learn as a team. Remember, learning organizations focus on being systems capable of bringing about their own continuing transformation. This requires tapping into people's commitment and capacity to learn at all levels. Option A reflects administrative management with its focus on defined authority, while option B reflects behavioral management with its focus on group power. Option C reflects Maslow's needs hierarchy, and finally option D, which is the correct answer, captures the essence of a learning organization. So I hope you are comfortable with all of the concepts we've discussed so far. We're going to now shift from the theoretical foundations to the practical process of strategic management. Strategic management is the process by which organizations determine their direction and make decisions about allocating resources to pursue that direction. We'll explore this through three key phases, being strategic analysis, strategy formulation, and strategy implementation. Each one of these phases is essential for effective strategic management, and HR plays a role in all three. So let's tackle the first one, being strategic analysis. It is the first phase of strategic management and involves understanding the organization's current position and the environment in which it operates. The mission is simple. An organization's mission is its purpose or reason for existence. It answers the question, why do we exist? Core values. These are the formal expression of the organization's beliefs and what it values. Core values articulate what an organization stands for and inform a range of business decisions. So here's the critical point. If there's a disconnect between lived culture and stated values, the culture will undermine efforts to achieve the mission. So in other words, it's not enough to say what you value, you have to live it. And then we have the SWOT analysis. Now, being a business management student, I'm pretty sure you've come across this at some point in your studies. It is an essential situational analysis which examines strengths being the internal capabilities, weaknesses being the internal limitations, and opportunities being external possibilities, and threats being external challenges. The SWOT analysis provides the foundation for strategy formulation, which we come to next. It involves converting the inputs from strategic analysis into a business plan. The famous Michael Porter developed the classic strategy formulation model, which is popularly known as Porter's generic competitive strategies. The organizational goal is to differentiate the firm and its products or services based on one or more attributes that consumers value that the organization can uniquely deliver. A focused strategy has two variants, cost and differentiation. So, cost focus, seeking to be the lowest cost producer in the market segment, and the differentiation focus, which is based on specific consumer requirements. Organizations need to choose which competitive strategy to pursue based on their strengths, weaknesses, and market position. So, for HR, the chosen strategy has significant implications. A cost-focused strategy might emphasize efficiency and cost control in HR practices. A differentiation strategy, however, might emphasize innovation, customization, and premium talent. So, taking that into consideration, we move into the next step, which is strategy implementation. The implementation phase is where competitive strategy is translated into strategic goals and objectives with associated accountability metrics and timelines. The choice of strategy has implications for HR structure, policies, and practices, with alignment being the key to successful implementation. So let's use the example here of the US Government Accountability Office. It shows alignment of strategic goals with objectives. It focuses on improving the agency's efficiency and effectiveness while acting as a responsible steward of resources and enhancing knowledge, agility, and response time. So in practice, this means that if an organization pursues a strategy of innovation, HR must recruit creative talent, provide development opportunities, and create reward systems that encourage experimentation. If an organization pursues a cost leadership strategy, HR must focus on efficiency, productivity, and cost control. Alignment is everything in this scenario. HR strategies and practices must support the overall business strategy. So then now let's move on to strategic planning. Let's explore HR strategic planning in a little bit more detail. We have 3 objectives for this section. We're going to describe the role of HR management in organizational strategic planning, the HR implications of different organizational strategies, and thirdly, we're going to describe the process of human resource planning. This section connects what we've discussed so far, showing how HR translates theory and strategic analysis into practical action. So, organizational strategic planning. HRM plays an instrumental role in both the development and implementation of organizational strategy. HR provides the insight into external human capital risks and opportunities based on the evaluation of legal, market, societal, technological, and geopolitical factors. So this means that HR professionals must be aware of the broader environment and how it affects the workforce. The key areas where HR contributes are attracting, retaining, and developing critical talent. This involves recruiting and selecting talent while also developing the capabilities of current talent, as well as addressing the needs and interests of a multi-general workforce. Then we move on to building high-performance work organizations. These establish accountability for business results, while also aligning reward systems with priorities and building values and principles for long-term growth. Aligning people with the business. This involves employees in business planning, building more effective communication and coaching, as well as focus efforts on growth, markets, and customer retention. An organization's go-to-market strategy has implications for its structure and HR systems, policies, and practices. HR must ensure that people strategies support market strategies. So, let's move on to the process of human resource planning. HR's responsibilities involve developing human capital strategies that align with the organization's mission, goals, and objectives. So, what the HR strategy basically does is it sets the pathway for all key areas, including hiring, performance management, compensation, training, and development. The essential elements of personnel management include a clearly understood strategic direction, customer and stakeholder human capital management outcomes and goals, strategic/objectives for accomplishing these goals with an implementation plan, a with there being communication and a change management plan, and finally an accountability system. So let's explain each one of these. The first one being a clearly understood strategic direction. This is essential because everyone knows where the organization is going. When it comes to the customer and stakeholder human capital management goals, this is what success looks like for people management. The strategies, objectives for accomplishing the goals, this explains how we'll get there. The implementation plan is the specific steps and timeline. Communication change management plan, how we'll keep everyone informed and engaged. And the accountability system will explain how we measure progress and hold people responsible. Data collection should support identification and key themes associated with gaps between current and desired workforce and human capital functions. This systematic approach ensures that HR planning is comprehensive and aligned with organizational needs. So, let's move on to the activity. You can do this in your free time, and I want you to think about the essential elements for a personnel management planning guide. Take into those characteristics that we've mentioned and choose 2 elements, any 2 from these, and discuss how you would approach this in your own organization or a hypothetical, well-known public company. Take into consideration how the organization currently approaches personnel management planning. Recognize the elements that are more important than others and justify why they are or why they are not. Now, what this will do is it will basically facilitate your understanding of what we have done. So now let's move on to the next part of our module. Strategic planning. And now that we've done with that, we're going to do a quick review. So let's wrap up with a quick review, and I'll give you a quick summary of what we did today. So the classical scientific management theories, these focus on task efficiency, systematic analysis of work, matching workers to jobs, dividing work between managers and workers, and the people who pioneered this were Taylor and the Gilbreths. What is the administrative management theory? This focuses on management functions and principles for organizing and running organizations effectively. What is assumed by behavioral management theories? These assume that human behavior, social factors, and motivation are critical to workplace performance. What are the assumptions of modern management theories? These integrate insights from earlier theories while incorporating learning organizations and quantitative approaches. They simply recognize the importance of continuous learning and data-driven decision-making. What is the strategic analysis? The process of understanding an organization's mission, core values, and internal-external environment through tools like SWOT analysis. Then we have strategy formulation. This is converting the strategic analysis into a business plan, including choosing competitive strategies like those described by the famous Porter. What is strategy implementation? This is translating strategy into goals, objectives, metrics, and timelines, and ensuring alignment across the organization. The role of human resource management in organizational strategic planning. We know HR plays an instrumental role in both developing and implementing strategy, providing key insight into human capital risks and opportunities. What are the implications that may arise from different organizational strategies? Cost strategies require efficiency and cost control. Differentiation strategies require innovation and premium talent. HR practices must align with the chosen strategy. Then, what is included in the process of human resource planning? Its strategic direction, goals and outcomes, strategies and objectives, implementation plans, communication and change management, and accountability systems. So, we're going to wrap this up with those key takeaways. And I want you to reflect on this and always remember that management theory has evolved from scientific efficiency to behavioral understanding to modern integrated approach. Each one of these eras we discussed contributed valuable insights that shape today's HR practices. Then strategic management, it involves analysis, formulation, and implementation. HR plays a role in all of those phases. And then HR strategic planning ensures that people's strategies align with organizational goals. This requires a systematic approach that includes clear direction, goals, implementation plans, and accountability. The connection between strategy and HR is essential. The organization's competitive strategy determines what HR must do to support success. So, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll be happy to clarify anything from today's material. Thank you for watching and I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson.